This episode picks up right after Min Won proposes to Ji Won. As they're sitting down after the proposal, Sumin asks Min Won how he prepared the proposal. Min Won thinks to himself that he was surprised by the drones and the fireworks, but he doesn't admit this out loud and instead claims he would have done anything. So we do flash back to before the proposal, and Ji Hyuk sees Min Won struggling to find a cheap way to propose. He calls Min Won into his office and tells him the company will be providing a villa for Ji Won's birthday as a consolation for Mr. Kim's behavior with the meal kit. This time, this fool Min Won decides he wants to grab Ji Hyuk's shoulder and try to assert pressure. Ji Hyuk just stands there looking unimpressed, not the only one. Anyway, Min Won wants to invite all of the team members to the villa under the guise of a birthday party for Ji Won, but he says he will be doing instead a surprise proposal. He also invites Ji Hyuk, thinking that he would be hurt after seeing Ji Won accept the proposal from another guy, but Ji Hyuk says he will come and that he will also be providing other support. So we've gone back to after the proposal, and Ji Won is standing at the edge of the bridge. Sumin approaches her and is looking out at while she was looking out at the lake and goes on to congratulate her. She asks if Ji Won has forgiven her yet and apologizes again, trying to play the innocent bestie. This girl. Anyway, Ji Won tells her that she doesn't want to forgive her and goes to walk away. Sumin then calls back to Ji Won, and when Ji Won turns around, she sees Sumin standing on the edge of the bridge. She mentions about not being able to swim. While this is going on, the rest of the team is sitting and talking, and Ji Hyuk hears a splash and looks towards the bridge when he suddenly gets up to run. Our kind-hearted Ji Won has jumped in after Sumin, and this crazy bitch tries to drag Ji Won down and try and drown her. She even had the audacity to smile while she was at it. Ji Hyuk gets to the bridge, and by this time we've seen both Ji Won and Sumin's back on the bridge. We don't see how they both appear on the bridge, but that doesn't matter. But at this time, Ji Hyuk takes off his jacket and covers Ji Won while giving Sumin the evil eye. So Ji Won comes out of the bathroom and Min Won is waiting with a blanket. Ji Won just ignores him and walks past him to sit on the couch with Hee-yoon. Ji Won is asked about how Sumin ended up in the water, and she tells them that Sumin had slipped. So Min Won had given Ji Won a beer like that's going to actually do anything when she's fallen into the lake. But Ji Hyuk takes it from her and swaps it with hot cocoa. Feeling like he needs to now one up Ji Hyuk, Min Won tries wrapping up Ji Won's legs with a blanket. Ji Hyuk then tells everyone to get ready for bed, and Min Won asks Ji Won if she's ready, but she says she will stay up a little while longer. Min Hyuk heads to his room, and when he pulls back the covers, he sees Sumin sleeping, or, at least pretending to be asleep. She fake wakes up and tells Min Won that he is quite late. He is surprised by her brazen behavior and mentions that he had just proposed and that Ji Won is, she sleeps in the room next door. And Sumin just responds that it makes it more thrilling. So Min Won, being the weak guy that he is, goes along with it when he is seduced a little more by Sumin. At this point, she tells him that it's his turn to make her happy. So we're back downstairs, and Ji Hyuk asks Ji Won if she is okay, and she tells him what really happened at the lake. So while she's having this conversation with Ji Hyuk, Sumin is laying in bed with Min Won. So Ji Won tells Ji Hyuk how Sumin tried to drag her down and how she was smiling while she was doing it. She also mentioned that it seems that Sumin didn't care if she died, and that she only wanted Ji Won to die with her. So while they're having this conversation, Hee-yoon makes her way downstairs to get some water. So Ji Hyuk and Ji Won hide behind a pillar. Sleepy Hee-yoon doesn't even notice them, even though Ji Hyuk's ass is basically sticking out the side. Ji Hyuk takes Ji Won out to the lake on his boat, and he mentions that he used to do it a lot when he was confused and needed to clear his head. They share a moment, and Ji Hyuk gives Ji Won a much needed pep talk, followed by him wishing her a happy birthday. And Ji Won thanks Ji Hyuk for the proposal. So it's the next day, I believe, and Ji Won heads back into work and she starts flashing around her engagement ring. So while she's doing this, Ji Won and Ji Hyuk give each other a little nod in acknowledgement. And then everyone gets into the lift and it becomes a little packed. So Ji Won and Ji Hyuk have another little moment where they're both trying to hold back from grabbing each other's hands. So Ji Won invites Ji Hyuk out to the department store on the weekend. She mentions that she'll be going shopping with Min Hwan. But Ji Hyuk tells her that he will be away in Japan, so that he can't. Meanwhile, Min Hwan and Soo Min are in the break room and he tells Soo Min that his mum is having a cooking class. So they will be delaying the meetup with his parents. At this point, Miss Yang and Hyun walks in on Min Hwan teasing Soo Min, and they mention that all that's left now is the family dinner. Ji Won walks in on this and says that after the proposal that she now has high expectations. Hyun then explains that before the family dinner, it is expected of the man to take the fiancée shopping. Ji Won acts like she doesn't know this is a thing, even though we clearly know that she does. So then next we go back and Ji Won's now at home and she hears the doorbell. So when she answers the door, she finds Soo Min with a shopping bag. She presents Ji Won with a pair of red shoes and claims it's a birthday present. These seem to be the same red shoes that she was wearing on the previous timeline when Ji Won discovered that she was having an affair with her husband. And then Soo Min says that she will also be providing a wedding gift, which is a cooking class. When Ji Won hears where the class would be held, she remembers it's a class that Min Won's mother goes to. After Soo Min leaves, Ji Won looks at the shoes and she has a bit of an emotional moment. She knows she has to take a bite, even though it's bait. And she also cries to herself, but thanks them for being persistent in their bad behavior. Soo Min and Ji Won arrive at the cooking lesson, and we see that Min Won's mother is being rude to the receptionist regarding being charged for parking where she overstayed. This rude ass woman then goes up to Ji Won, grabs Ji Won's bag, and throws it on the other side of the table and tells her that this is her spot. Ji Won goes to the other side with Soo Min after Soo Min pulls her over there, but not before she gave a little attitude to Min Won's mum first. Soo Min tries to play the innocent nice girl to try and get Min Won's mum to have a good impression of her and an equally bad impression of Ji Won. While Mrs. Yang is at work, she receives a call from her daughter who's crying that she is hungry. And when Miss Yang asks what happened to her dad, the daughter responds that her dad is busy. Miss Yang then asks where the dad is, and we shortly see her in a taxi trying to rush back home. She does get caught in traffic, and while she is in the traffic, she does call her daughter and sees that the daughter is crying over the video call. She then also sees Mr. Lee pull up next to the taxi on her motorbike. So at this point, Mr. Lee has given Miss Yang a lift to her house, and when she arrives home, she finds that her husband is back there eating noodles with their daughter like nothing at all happened. Shortly after, we do see Miss Yang having stomach pains, similar to what Ji Won had in the original timeline when she was at work. At the cooking class, Soo Min is cooking like she's a pro, and she looks on at Ji Won, who is taking her time to cut the carrots into thin slices. Min Won's mom says that at the speed it is taking Ji Won to cut the carrots, that her family would be waiting for food until the next day. Ji Won goads her by saying they would get lunch in 2 days, but then she also mentions that her boyfriend loves to cook and she only has to cook twice a week.
근데 이 아가씨들이요. 저렇게 누려 터져서 어디 식구들 끼기나 챙기겠어? 저석 거면 내일도 못 먹어. 내일 모레 아침에나 먹을까?
Ji Won is having fun goading Min Won's mum, and Soo Min watches on, thinking that she has one-upped Ji Won. But when the class has ended, the instructor praises Ji Won on her food, and a surprised Soo Min looks at the food that Ji Won has produced, along with Min Won's mother. We then flash back to Ji Won being taught how to cook by Min Won's mum, and she explains that thanks to the hard training, she is now able to cook. Min Won's mother mentions that food shouldn't just look good, it should taste good. So this woman takes her fast self and takes some of the food that Ji Won has prepared to go taste it. She is surprised to find out that it tastes just like the teachers and even goes back for a second taste as well. Sumin licks on surprise. After the class has ended, Sumin asks Ji Won how she learned to cook. Ji Won says that she just did and lies that her father taught her to cook a long time ago. Min Hwan sees Ji Won and Sumin. Ji Won tells Sumin that Min Hwan is taking her shopping and invites Sumin to join. She then goes out of her way to ask Min Hwan when they are having a family dinner in front of Sumin. Sumin claims that she has plans and excuses herself from the shopping, but not before leaving her parting words of only being alive because of Ji Won. So we look back and now Ji Hyuk's on a flight back from Japan and he asks to see a magazine of purchasable items on the flight. And we see on the cover that there is a nice diamond necklace. So we flash back to Ji Won saying how Min Won bought her a cheap one before on the previous timeline.
난 이거.
야, 이건 가격대가 너무 비싸.
신혼부부이신가요? 예물로 딱 좋은 스테디예요.
아직 뵙질 않았는데 저희 어머님이 눈이 되게 높으시대요.
눈이 높으시다면 며느님이 이 정도 가지고 있으셔야 할 것 같아요.
While they are out shopping, Ji-won tells Min-won that she wants the pink bag that she didn't buy before when she was shopping with Hee-yun. He begrudgingly purchases it along with many other items that Ji-won picks up on their shopping trip. While paying for coffee, Ji-won thinks back to before when he moaned about her buying cheap clothes online and that his mum has high standards. She does feel a little bad about spending his money when he's struggling, but after all the stuff he's done, girl, don't think that hard about it. Eunho calls Ji-won and Min-hyuk answers the phone. Min-won takes the opportunity to ask Eunho if they can have the family dinner where Eunho works and whether Ji-won will get special friend rates. This man literally has no shame. He hasn't even met the guy and he's asking for discounts.
이거 강지원 씨 핸드폰 아닌가요?
아, 예, 안녕하세요. 지원이 남자친구 박민환이라고 합니다.
예. 안녕하세요.
Eunho says that they can have the dinner at the restaurant, and after he hangs up the phone, we see that he is sitting with the three women that used to bully Ji-won in high school. Turns out that they want to apologize to her and have asked Eunho to help them meet or at least speak to Ji-won to apologize for their previous behavior towards her. At this point, Eunho also finds out about the engagement, which he congratulates Min-won and Ji-won for. Ji Hyuk visits his grandfather in the hospital, who moans that he came late to meet his one and only grandfather. Ji-won tells him that he had met up with Yura. The grandfather then mentions that there is no one like Yura and that she is 1,000 times better than Ji-won, but Ji-won tells him to leave her alone and that Yura has nothing to do with him. His grandfather then goes on to tell him that it's pointless to like someone who is involved with someone else and that Ji Hyuk is a fool in love. We then see a clip of Ji Hyuk's previous timeline, and we see that a funeral is being held for Ji Hyuk, with the procession making its way through the UNK lobby. Ji Hyuk thinks about how his grandfather might have felt and tells him that he will do better before giving him a hug. Ji-won arrives home and sees Ji Hyuk is sitting in his car outside her house. He tells her that he came because he missed her. She asks if there's anything wrong, and he tells her about how his life was decided for him since birth. She asks if he wants something now, and he says that he doesn't and that he can never be that. Ji-won then asks him what's a simple thing that he would like to do. So Ji-won tells Ji-wook what it was like for her when she first came back and that things became clearer to her after she made the food incident occur at work where she tripped Sumin. Ji-hyuk asks if he can hold Ji-won's hand, which she allows, and they look at each other while holding hands. The next day, Min-won's mum is having a go at her husband about what suit he will wear to the family meeting. Min-won's mum says that she will go to the meeting 30 minutes late and that the least Ji-won can do is wait. Min-won then receives a text from Sumin who says she is waiting outside his house. So when he's gone outside, Sumin tries to seduce Min Hwan, saying that he is hers while stroking his chest. We already know he's a little bit sensitive. He says that he can spare 10 minutes, and Soo Min says that she won't finish in 10 minutes and tries to walk away before Min Hwan grabs her. At the restaurant, we see an emotional Eunho preparing the table for Ji Won's family dinner. Min Hwan arrives shortly after Eunho has walked away, and he is surprised to find out that nobody is even there yet. He calls Ji Won and lies that his parents are already there waiting, but they turn up right when he says that, and she says that she has also arrived. The outfit, definitely daring for a family meeting. Gotta love how Ji Won is so unapologetic about it and how she acts surprised to see Min Won's mum again. At the meeting, she talks about how her mum had left her when she was 14 and that she didn't grow up with their influence. She then goes on to say that it was probably best seeing as her mum had left for having an affair, which makes Min Won and his mother choke on their drink. Min Won tries in her own way to belittle Ji Won, and Min Won tries to ask Ji Won why she didn't wear any of the clothes that he bought. She said that she was saving it for a special occasion and that she did at least bring the bag. She then mentions how they brought up Min Hwan and makes it seem like she's complimenting his upbringing when we really know she's not. Ji Hyuk is at home and he is signing a cat trust agreement. Mr. Lee is a little surprised and asks why he is doing this when he knows that Ji Hyuk is in good health. Ji Hyuk also asks Mr. Lee for another favor. And when he is alone, Ji Hyuk brings out the necklace that he bought and thinks to himself that he hopes that Ji Won is doing well. Back at the family meeting, Min Won's mom says that she does not like Ji Won and tries to list all of Ji Won's faults. Ji Won pretends to agree with what Min Won's mom has requested in regards to the household, kids, and looking after Min Won. Ji Won keeps agreeing, but she says that when they have kids, she will be a housewife. Min Won's mom also mentions taking Ji Won to have a health check and how they will start doing the ancestral rites again, but only for Min Won's ancestors, as daughters should not hold the rights for their deceased ancestors because it's something that the sons are supposed to do. At this point, Ji Won gets mad and puts Min Won's mother in her place by calling her a tumor before calling off the wedding. When she tries to walk out, Min Won tries to stop her and she pushes him back down in his seat before she walks away. Min Won follows after her, and when he grabs her, Ji Won uses the self-defense training that she learned from Ji Hyuk to flip him. Min Won's parents and Eunho look on in shock when this happened. Ji Won then stands over Min Won with a satisfied smile on her face. Girl, I don't blame you. I will be skinning like a Cheshire cat if I were you. Okay, so that's all for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.